All right, just a few moments ago, President Trump responded to remarks made by Marjorie Taylor Greene amid their feud over the Epstein files. Greene said that she had received threats for the positions that she has recently taken. But take a listen to what President Trump just said about her.
I don't think her life is in danger. Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her.
Joining us now is MS Now senior reporter Brandy Zadrozny. Brandy, it's great to have you here on the show with us. So what do you make of this feud? It's blowing out in the open. It's going to get nasty, as it normally does with Donald Trump, very quickly. He does not hold back personal attacks. He's already labeling her Marjorie Trader Greene and Marjorie Taylor Brown.
Yeah, I mean,
the name calling has already begun.
There is a fracture within the Republican Party, and these are the two avatars of it. You have Donald Trump on one side, who's saying, I don't want to release these files for reasons that are not quite clear to anyone, including most of his base. And then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is somehow the avatar of, like, release the files. We want transparency from the Trump administration. It's a very weird time to live in reality. I think that we're going to see, whatever happens this week, there is going to be a vote on it this week. And she seems all too ready to sort of take up the hero's mantle here, and it seems like she's doing sort of a tour, a press tour, and where she's said, like, I'm so sorry for the way that I've harassed people in the past. And so,
yeah, what do you make of that transformation?
Listen, Marjorie Taylor Greene has caused so much pain, harassment, conspiracy theories. Like, she's caused so much of it in her short tenure in Congress. And I think it's fine, but, like, I used to report on white supremacists a lot, right? And when a white supremacist says, oh, I want to be a former white supremacist, what you have to do is not only, as Marjorie Taylor Greene said today, which was, I'm sorry for the, my part in other people getting harassment campaigns. That's great. Now go make amends. So maybe she wants to start with the school shooting survivors that she chased through D.C. a few years back, making all of these crazy claims. There are many, many people that she could probably reach out to. So maybe
and start apologizing.
Maybe like a little bit of amends before we
just had Congressman Ansari or Congresswoman Ansari on moments ago, who kind of signaled Democrats at least see her as someone they're willing to work with. She did not, aggressively condemn Marjorie Taylor Greene. She certainly referenced that she has done horrible things and that she wants to see her make those kinds of amends. But it seems like there actually is an open door there to them seeing her now as part of whatever this resistance era looks like.
Listen, I just think that's a crazy thing. I think that's crazy.
Stalin rule.
I don't know what that is.
Are people's memories just so short?
It's basically Stalin's awful, but we got to work with him during World War II to win the war. So Democrats can play by the Stalin rule, and their enemies become their allies in pursuit of the just cause.
Again, I think if she wants to come and make amends and take real responsibility for all that she hath wrought over the last few years, fine. And you can take a position. You can say, she takes the same position I do, and that's wonderful. But I don't think we all need to break bread with her.
So can you break down for us the different camps in this battle of MAGA? So who are the influencers who are backing up President Trump and saying too much is being made over this, we need to move on? And then who is on the other side and saying, I want those files, you promised me the Epstein files, why are you betraying this promise? And who is the most vocal?
Yeah, well, so let's start with Alex Jones, right, the original truther. Alex Jones, I think, personifies a lot of what is going on in MAGA land, which is, let's try to separate two things. One, the stuff in these emails, which I found to be pretty scrumptious in terms of, the threads about how Donald Trump is the dog who hasn't barked yet. Like, conspiracy land should have lit up. They did not. They all kind of said, oh, well, that's not a big deal. We already know that Virginia Giuffre said that he hadn't done anything, so that's all we need to know, and let's let the rest lie. But the second part of that from every single person, including Alex Jones, was, but we want to see those files. What is he doing? Now, some in MAGA camp think that he's just making a stupid political decision. Marjorie Taylor Greene even said that on TV the other day. She said, I can't figure out why he's doing this. It's bad strategy. And, I still agree with him on everything else. This is just bad strategy. Just release it. And then there are some, really wild ones in MAGA camp who think that Donald Trump is somehow trying to protect a deep state that he is now in charge of. It gets pretty complicated. I have to say,
there's been different perspectives around that. We also know that any individual senator could continue to bring this issue up with different tools that they have outside of, discharge petition is the tool that we have in the House that seemed unlikely to get to this point months ago, and now here we are. I think the Senate has the same. But here's the thing. The American public is the strongest tool that we have. Americans are demanding accountability and justice on this issue. The victims of Jeffrey Epstein are not giving this up. They just put out a very, very impactful ad that, talks about the pain that they have endured over decades since they were children. And the Oversight Committee is absolutely not giving this up. Oversight Democrats have been at the forefront of this. The subpoena that we issued is the reason why we even got the files from the Epstein estate. It's the reason why there is a subpoena against the Department of Justice to begin with, and we're not backing down. And I'll tell you that ultimately, when we win back the House of Representatives in 2026 and Robert Garcia becomes the chairman of the Oversight Democrats, we are going to have every single person, leader, organization, company who helped enable and perpetrate these crimes come testify before Congress, and we will get the truth for the victims, and people will be held accountable for these crimes.
Congresswoman, can I get your thoughts on the transformation of your colleague, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has, of course, it appears broken up with Donald Trump over the Epstein files, but has also started to separate herself from him, but the rest of her party on other issues like healthcare and foreign policy. How do you read what's happening there, and do you see this transformation as genuine?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I've thought a lot about it, and I've watched her interviews in depth. And I'll start by saying I was not here in Congress during some of the worst of Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Like her going after in using violent rhetoric against many of my Democratic colleagues. I was not here during the January 6th insurrection. I was not here during those times. I watched it from afar, of course. And first, I want to say that I welcome the transformation of Congresswoman Greene, because I think that in this time where we are so polarized and so divided, and as much as our constituents and my constituents in Arizona want me to fight, they also want us to win, and they also want us to get things done for people. And I think without being able to welcome new folks into our coalition and to work together on issues, we're never going to get there. So I appreciated her comment saying that she regrets any violence that she may have incited against other colleagues. I think she has a lot of apologizing to do to very specific members of the Democratic Party, to victims of gun violence and their families who she has previously mocked. I think she has important questions to answer about where she stands, for example, on the results of the 2020 election, which she previously, called fake. And so those questions need to be asked. But I think the fact that she is coming out against the president, against Republicans when it comes to health care, and so fiercely in defense of Jeffrey Epstein's victims.
Getting worse for Trump. The Bill Clinton part of this, but also just the survivors, is noted there. The Democrats are saying, and I think correctly so, that this is going to be a bad week for Trump. And the next couple weeks are going to be bad, right? Because the votes are coming up. He's losing control of his base. And while before it really did, like, maybe I'll be wrong, but before it really did seem like there was going to be a real question of whether 50% of the House would support a resolution to open up the files and basically thumb their noses at Trump, because 50% would require every Democrat and then a few Republicans. Now it seems like there may be, a couple dozen Republicans, maybe more, that will vote for this. So we've gone from, it basically being a pure partisan issue to a couple Republicans being on board, like Massey and some others, to then some MAGA people coming on board, like Greene and Boebert. to now it's like, I don't know, you could see a lot of Republicans, both MAGA Republicans, because this issue matters a lot to a lot of the MAGA voters. Trump promised them that he would move on this issue. And maybe a lot of moderate Republicans too on the other side, because this issue is you don't want to be on the side. You want to be on pro the guys who fly teens around on planes if you're in a district that's +2 Trump or +2 Biden, right? I don't think that's going to play well with the moderates, folks, right? Like, I don't think it's going to play well in Long Island if you're like, yeah, I love Epstein and helping keep him safe, right? So Trump could get pincered not only from the Democrats, but also from MAGA on one side and from some of the more moderate conservatives on the other. And so, and the Bill Clinton part of this really does matter. Again, I talked about this earlier today, but if you go on Google and you search up Trump in the last day, and you look at the most important searches linked to him, like if you just type in Trump into like the Google Trends, again, the searches are generally up for him over the last week, and also the most common connection is Trump and Bill Clinton, because the alleged rumor is he did something with quote-unquote Bubba, and quote-unquote Bubba is Bill Clinton. And apparently there's a video that may or pictures or whatever, that may or may not be in the possession of a certain dictator from Moscow that Donald likes. This is the rumor. It's a rumor. I want to make that very clear. It's a rumor. Nonetheless, people are getting to this story via that. And for Donald, this showcases that whether it's going to be because his base abandons him over homophobia, or over him being a scumbag or connected to scumbags, I don't see an easy way out of this.